Jacob Sanderson, Billy Milestone, and your host Thomas Tipple, Dynasty Podcast. This is the Full Tilt. 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 Dynasty Podcast. Jacob Sanderson, Billy Milestone, and your host Thomas Tipple. This is the Full Tilt Dynasty Podcast.
You're mocking me, aren't you?
Oh, no. Buzz-looking alien! Where?
Hey,
You always surprise me, buddy.
I don't even know how that one was relevant.
I honestly just went and tried to find something that said mock in it, and that was short, and then I had to alter it so we didn't get copyright tagged. So hey, this is what I came up with. This is the big mock draft show. I'm your host with the most time on his hands. I'm Thomas Tipple FF. To my right, as always, is FF_RTDB lead analyst at Roto Underworld, and we got below us Big Billy FF Bucks in
Bucky.
6 man himself. Congratulations, Mr. Milwaukee.
Thank you.
As much as your hat is having a sad time, that T-shirt is having a good one.
I could not find my Bucks hat, so this is what we're riding with today.
This is what we have. Of course, this is the Full Tilt Dynasty Podcast. We are full tilting our way through some injury stuff that we're only going to touch on briefly because it's been done to death. We're not going to sit here and get hung up like our wives just dumped us, or girlfriends or boyfriends, or however you're rolling, just left us. We're not going to sulk about it. We're going to move forward. We're going to touch on it briefly. We are doing a mock draft show today. This is our first mock draft. We're going to do another one before kickoff and kind of see where things have changed. The point of this mock draft, and I'm going to explain a little bit more when I do the old out and in there. The point of this one is we all have very prominent styles. Everyone talks to Jacob about his style and his drafts and how he does things. We always call Billy the man without hats, and there's myself, who has been trying to let go of fading quarterbacks. We'll see if that happens this time. We're going to take it to the board, and I will explain how that's going to work. But first, if you haven't yet, you should go to fulltiltdynasty.com. That's right. The boys themselves have their own website, complete with a blog, forum. You can submit questions. We're trying to get that community building up, place with great discussions. There are some there now. So go to fulltiltdynasty.com and do that. And of course, I just want to mention that I believe, tell me if you get this date right, but August 7th. This is going to be a big show, big time show for the boys over here at the Full Tilt Dynasty Podcast, as Captain Controversy himself, the man who accumulates clicks, the man that gets the news out there, the man in front of the whiteboard on TikTok himself. The Podfather is joining the Full Tilt Dynasty Podcast. Jacob always loves my intro to that.
Well, my intro would be like, my boss and a fairly nice guy.
That doesn't bring the clicks, okay?
So it's just a very different vibe.
I have to introduce him as if he's Thanos, because that's what I do. All right,
yeah,
that's what I do.
I was like, oh, like my guy
He's
Matt.
Hey, look, you know him as that, but everyone else knows him as a hell of a character. And guess what? He is, and he doesn't do a lot of these, but guess what? He's gracious enough to appear for us at the Full Tilt Dynasty Podcast. A lot thanks to our mate over there to my right. And of course, joining us today, that's Patrick the Alpaca behind me, here to handle all your HR and questions and comments that you submit to us. That's Patrick. Guys, with the news of August 7th coming around with the Podfather, a special Saturday edition at 12 o'clock Central Standard Time, and the news coming in this week. I just want to go over it really quick, just really fast. Akers, it sucks. That's all you're going to get from me. Jacob.
Yeah, look, if you want my take on Cam Akers or on Darrell Henderson, you can get that in a way that the pen is mightier than the sword. So you can go to fulltiltdynasty.com. You can read my thoughts on everything Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson related as it goes to Dynasty, as it goes to seasonal leagues and best ball. You can go to playerprofiler.com and you can read my piece on Darrell Henderson there. So I talked about it in long form on both sites about Akers, about Henderson. All I'll say here is just, look, I mean, it sucks a ton, and it sucks first and foremost from a real life perspective. These people put their body on the line every day for our entertainment, our enjoyment. Most importantly, though, their livelihoods, their families. I mean, for someone like Cam Akers, whether he was one of your favorite players in the NFL, someone you were never drafting, whatever, like that's a dude who needs his legs to feed his family, right? So that's where our heart should always be first, no matter what. I think we all wish him the absolute best in his recovery. And, I think we all know what odds he's against. I think he knows that a lot better than anyone. And no matter what you think, I hope that you're all rooting for him as hard as you can to come back in a big way next season.
Yeah, 100%. Billy, real quick, 30 seconds on Cam Akers.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing. It's an absolutely horrible situation. Like, this man just got up to his dream and now facing that. Like, the odds are at. Don't you laugh at what I just said, Jake.
No, I'm laughing at Cam.
No, I mean it's a horrible situation. Jacob summed it up perfectly. From a fantasy perspective, Darrell Henderson is interesting. I don't think he's going to be pushing as an RB1 this year. There is some weird, growing camp news that they're defending Xavier Jones. So if you're looking at a deeper pick in fantasy leagues, go ahead and add Xavier Jones. Other than that,
I drafted in round 18 of a best ball league already today.
Other than that, it's just a really sad situation.
Adrian Peterson's about to come and rush for 2,000 yards and show us all that he can still play. Okay.
I would love it. Like Adrian Peterson on the Rams getting 1,000 yards rushing at 37 years old would be the only way that this Akers thing becomes remotely salvageable.
Yeah.
Just because I would enjoy that so much.
Okay, more pressing news. Again, we're only going to touch on it for a few minutes because we want to get to this draft as soon as possible and not bore everyone to tears. As Michael Thomas deciding to get surgery a month before training camp or a month before preseason.
Always thought he looked like Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Obviously, this is kind of a big deal. Now the Saints have even more question marks for their offense. The only question mark, remember when Thomas was out and Taysom Hill was starting and they fed Alvin Kamara the ball on the ground and in the air for a few weeks, and it was like magical until Taysom Hill stole one of Kamara's rushing touchdowns for no reason. Look, obviously he gets the bump. We all think they're going to lean on him. Great for Alvin. Real quick, Billy, 30 seconds. Michael Thomas, big deal, not a big deal. Sell, buy. What do you think?
I put it on Twitter. I'm not going to talk about the receiving core because that's this man's job. And absolutely, I think it's Alvin Kamara to the moon. If there's one sneaky upside player, it might be Latavius Murray, just because they have continuously decided to meter out Kamara's touches. And I think if that is going to be the case this year and Thomas is going to be gone for 4 to 6 weeks to start the season, Latavius Murray could be getting a lot of rushing snaps. So absolutely, I'd be looking to him as a potential late round get.
I couldn't agree more. Could not agree more on Latavius. I mean, I've seen the narrative that means they're going to go to Taysom Hill. It means they're going to rush more. They're going to want more of a Latavius style, more south. I think that is definitely possible. But I think regardless, they don't have any wide receivers at all. They have Traquan Smith, Marquez Callaway, Deontay Harris, who's like a gadget guy to me. I don't think he's a real wide receiver.
Shaquem Grant.
And then they have their fourth wide receiver right now is a guy named Jawan Johnson, who I actually just found out existed an hour ago. So if they sustain another injury, I assume they're going to get a veteran wide receiver, but there's not any good veteran wide receivers on the market. So I think if you're going to see Kamara split out in the slot and Latavius in the backfield, a decent amount. I think even if that happens for 10, 15, 20% of the snaps, that means that's a boost to Latavius's volume in terms of snap percentage on the field. In terms of wide receiver core, first off for Michael Thomas, I think it's not like a small deal because I don't think that this happened by accident. I think either he had surgery in January and it didn't take, or he thought he could heal it up without surgery and then found out he needed it. It's definitely a concern. Like, this injury lingered last year. He got injured and then he came back and then he re-injured it. Wasn't good in the playoffs. And then then it lingered all the way through off season. So would it totally stun me if this lingered all the way through this season? No. And then what are we looking at? Then it's 2 years of injury riddled. And then he's 29, and then he's Odell Beckham, right? So that'll mean that I'll still draft him in every league, but it'll mean that he'll have a lot less value. So it's definitely a concern. The risk is way higher. I wouldn't move him into a different tier, but I would move him like totally to the bottom of his tier is sort of how I'm looking at it. And none of that is to do with the fact that he's probably going to miss 6 games. Like, if I was 100% sure that he's going to miss 6 games, come back healthy in week 7, I so wouldn't care. But I'm just a little bit worried about the injury lingering. That's all.
Yeah, it's going to be a weird situation. Look, all the injuries right now, those are 2 big ones. Everything else, it's pup list. Yeah. Don't go crazy, okay? For most of these players, we kind of knew it was going to happen anyway. Yeah. This is just classic Twitter overreactions. Don't adjust ranks because of Twitter overreactions. Right. If that's the case, you definitely need to be listening to the Fantasy Walkabout and how to avoid these kind of decisions. Tilt trading, value boosting and dumping because of Twitter spec. It's not great. And look, I just want to point out something that Jacob and I spoke to off air. When a dude on a radio station says, yeah, Deshaun Watson's totally going to get traded, and then I see Deshaun Watson trades 3 hours later in multiple leagues, chill. Don't overreact to everything you hear, guys, because it's going to hurt you in Dynasty down the road. Just take it in, breathe, do a little bit of research, hit up your favorite analysts, shows, podcasts, have a listen, have a think, breathe, take a minute, take it all in, and then react. The other thing, Jacob, what's up?
I just wanted to touch on the Watson thing for 1 second. So part of it I think is true, right? Like, I believe Schefter in the sense that he has an intuition about the Eagles. I mean, obviously, like, the Eagles are one of a few teams that have a super unsettled quarterback situation. They have 3 first-round picks in 2022. So would it shock me in the slightest if the Eagles are doing their homework on Deshaun Watson? Of course not. But, like, guys, like, Deshaun Watson is not playing this year. Like, there is very convincing evidence that he sexually assaulted 22 women. Like, that's not going to happen. I'm not particularly convinced he's going to play in the NFL ever again, but I'm so convinced he's not playing in 2021. I just don't see how it's going to happen. Like, Adrian Peterson got held out on an exempt list the entire year for potentially disciplining his kid with a switch. Like, you think that Goodell's just going to let Watson play under 22 allegations of sexual assault? There is a 0.0% chance. Like, and I really don't think he's playing this year. So there's no way that the Eagles are going to trade for him while he's still on the exempt list. Like, that makes no sense. And the Texans wouldn't trade him while he's on the exempt list because they're going to wait and see, because they're not going to be able to get anything for him while his playing future. So would it surprise me if this trade happened in the offseason? No, but then we're looking at the same situation we've always been looking at for Hurts, which is that he's probably going to score a ton of fantasy points this year, and his job is extremely unsafe, and it's on him to prove himself this year.
This is the key thing, and look, if you don't listen to the Fantasy Walkabout, you need to go and do that. That's myself and Tom Lee, either on Monday or Tuesday nights, okay? You got to do that. But one thing that we stress about all the time is having links in your league, always having your ear to the ground to get a listen. Soon as that news broke, I kid you not, I saw Jalen Hurts get traded for Mac Jones and a third, and I was like, are we panicking because of a bad report that Sleeper put? I'm not saying it's a bad report that Sleeper put out to like trash Sleeper reporting it. They did their job. It was great. It was said. Did you look into it at all? Did you know what I mean? Like, let's take a second to breathe and let it all in. Don't overreact. React.
The absolute craziest thing is that if Deshaun Watson is going to Philadelphia, let's say 100% that's happening tomorrow, we can't stop it.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is going to Houston.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I think that's almost a guarantee. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Especially
which
because
he's in the exact same position as he is now.
I don't get it.
But he doesn't have Devonta Smith, and anyway. Look.
Yeah, he has Brandon Cooks.
Billy's favorite player.
So
Yes,
look, the way I
absolutely.
see it, because one thing we talk about on the Fantasy Walkabout all the time is that leagues happen more than just startup season, right? It's easy to get your content from startup season. Hell, we're going to do a startup mock draft right now. But a lot of people got Jalen Hurts for late seconds and third round picks in their rookie drafts when they came out last year, unless you were like way ahead and truly believed. You're not even getting your value back for that in that case. So it's like, just don't overreact. And that includes, and I'm only going to touch on this for like half a second, the anti-vax stuff going on in the NFL right now is going to be the news. It's going to come out all throughout the weekend. It's going to be more and more and more. Chill, sit tight, relax, breathe, right? Billy, you know that term, relax, better than any of us here on the show. Exactly.
Yeah.
Do
How
not overreact.
How much would you kill to hear Rodgers toss on an RELAX to
I would love it.
Look,
I would
so that's it for our news. That's our news. That's a roundup. We're gonna get to one. You know, it's becoming more popular than the people VRTDB. I got to tell you, I get a lot of messages about it. But Billy right now is standing undefeated because he's a dick and he likes to make these questions really hard. And Jacob and I are going to put our collective brains together, come back, and we're going to take on Billy in his big board. On the stat corner, if you haven't seen the stat corner, I'm going to come back and I'm going to explain to you how it's going to go. Okay, sit tight, hang in there. We're going to be right back. Come back and join us now. I don't know where Jacob went. I think he snuck away.
He's grabbing a book.
There he goes. Yeah, he's probably grabbing a book. Oh.
I'm grabbing a beer, not a book. Are you kidding?
Okay.
Billy's the one who reads. I'm the one who drinks.
Amen. Look, if you haven't seen Billy's Stat Corner yet, me and Jay, we're going to take 5 to 7 minutes to answer Billy's trivia questions. We're going to get 3 strikes and 1 hint. We haven't done it yet, as you can see at the bottom right. If you're watching this via video, he's 8-0 because he's a dick and he makes these really hard, and they all somehow have something to do with MVS, which is he always goes too obvious. At least he says obvious, and one like completely. Last week we got stumped by Jimmy frickin' Graham. So this week, go and check that out. We do these every week. So Billy, what is it this week?
All right. So every week I've done these, and obviously I've done 8.
You're half smiling and it makes me nervous.
You've done 7.
Yeah, we had our imposter.
Billy, the stat corner, also.
Billy, you wore a mask. But going on, every time I've done it with players, and today I want to do it with teams.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Looking at teams, I'm going to ask y'all what 3 teams led the league in intended air yards last year. Very simple. Easy question.
I actually think we have a chance at this one.
These 3 teams were ranked 1, 2, 3 in intended air yards.
All right, so let's
just total air yards.
Okay. Intended air yards, yes.
Let's make a short list
Tampa.
Here. Nah, one sec. That one might be, but
well, you said let's make a list. I was just giving.
Okay, yeah, Tampa for sure is in the mix. I think Houston is like 100% gonna be on there.
Okay.
Kansas City,
Seattle.
In the mix. Seattle's in the mix. Who else threw for a lot of yards last year?
Kansas City's always there.
Yeah, Kansas City's going to be on there, I think. Dallas, maybe.
I don't think they did it enough with Danucci.
Yeah,
Danucci.
Danucci.
Trying to
He
think
did
of
that
anyone
name on the
else.
Mob episode.
I'm trying to think who's going to be the weird one.
Yeah,
already. I'm already thinking who's going to be the weird one.
His face.
It is so hard pulling these stats.
Oh, you know,
like 2 good ones and a weird one.
Cincinnati threw a ton of passes last year. Even though Burrow left, they threw a lot of passes. The Niners actually threw a ton of passes last year.
Deep though, because it's got to be intended air yards.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Mullins threw it deep. Usually the other team, but he chucked it deep. Who else? Okay. Atlanta's always in the mix. Atlanta. They throw it a lot.
So I think let's say Houston and knock that one out first.
I think Houston and KC I feel the best about. All right, let's start with
Tom
Houston.
Brady. Tom Brady had the most downfield attempts of his entire career last
Okay.
season, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So that's why I think Tampa for sure. But
I
that's
could
those
definitely
three
see it
seem
there.
too obvious.
Let's start with
Okay,
Houston.
Okay, let's go. We're gonna start with Houston number 1.
This one's wrong.
Locking in
Oh
Houston.
man.
Yeah,
Houston
Bills.
is not on the list.
What? How?
Houston is actually pretty far down.
Well,
They are
He chucked it so much.
number 9 with
God,
4,800
struck.
air yards.
Bills
Wow,
wild
I'm
card.
stunned.
Drew Lock had a
Oh,
bunch
Bills.
of intended.
Yeah, Bills actually is a great guess, but they kind of threw it short a lot.
They
Oh,
were
yeah.
an intermediate passing team. Just because Josh Allen has a big cannon doesn't mean he threw it deep, which is deceiving.
It's still got to be Kansas City,
does
right?
have a
Just
cannon.
think about all those passes that were perfectly
Yeah.
thrown to Mecole Hardman that he dropped.
Just in the first Tampa Bay game where Hill got 280 yards alone. So let's say Kansas City. Let's lock in KC.
Still
And
go
if we
with
get 2 wrong out of the gate
I'm
here,
gonna be just mad.
we're just gonna bury our heads in the sand.
Kansas City is number 5.
Oh my God!
What the fuck?
What are these? Okay, this list is dumb. Then it's fixed. It's rigged. Kayla, do you want to say Tampa? I don't know. No one on Tampa got yak ever, did they?
I'm just demoralized now.
Oh,
This
what
is
about the
bullshit.
Chargers? Do they? I feel like I remember like a lot.
Well,
of
look,
times
because it's not
watching games,
completed.
they'd be
It's
like, let's go
intended.
like,
Because
Yeah.
Herbert threw like a ton of just
So
deep
it's really
balls
just-
to Guyton for no reason.
but it's really just like who threw the most pass attempts and like threw a lot of them deep, right? Like Atlanta feels like it makes sense. I mean, Atlanta threw most of their passes to Ridley, and Ridley is like incapable of getting
What's
yards
up,
after the
Husker?
catch. So
The Hoosk.
Hmm.
what up, Dustin? You got a guess for us, Dustin? I don't know. I'm fine with whatever. I'm fine with the Bucks. I'm fine with the Bills. I'm fine with the Falcons.
It's so demoralizing to come out of the gate shitting the bed like this.
Yeah, we already got 2 strikes, and Billy's
Hey, I'll
not gonna
take our
yank,
first-
He's not going to throw 5 wild pitches in a row.
I'll take a hint. I'll take our hint now.
Yeah, definitely. Let's get that hint going.
All right.
Kendall Hinton.
I wasn't prepared for a hint.
Well, you should have been.
We ask for
prepared.
one every week.
All of them have QBs that are not on rookie contracts.
Okay, so not Josh Allen, not
So-
Herbert.
So Seattle.
So did Seattle? Seattle didn't throw enough. I feel better about the Falcons than I feel about Seattle.
Okay.
Wait.
Oh, fuck you.
Okay.
Oh,
Hmm.
he lied. This is bullshit. Restart, reset. The information's not
Keep
correct.
going. I'm gonna give y'all a minute.
You muted yourself, Billy.
I need to look up a stat real quick.
Oh God, you
Just
fucked it
to
up.
put a
Billy,
put a qualifier on something. Okay.
Billy fucked it up. All
right.
So let's think about it for a minute here, Jacob. We got Kansas City wrong, Houston wrong. So we're
Yeah.
both.
All right, let's rule a bunch out. So obviously not the Patriots, not the Jets, not the Dolphins. So the Bills maybe. Then not Baltimore, not Cleveland, not
Well, wait, because
maybe
it's
Pittsburgh.
Okay.
it's intended air yards. So
So one of them had a player on a rookie contract start for a couple games.
the Bills are out.
Yeah, the Bills are out. Start for a couple of games. Okay.
But
Let's
the
try to
other
figure out
two,
that
they
one.
definitely aren't on a rookie.
Okay, so not Cincy then, because that's more than a couple.
What
of
up,
games.
Luke Veer?
That one's not Seattle. Obviously, Seattle could still be right. Atlanta could still be right. Tampa could still be right. A couple of games. The Eagles.
No. Oh well.
Oh, the Cowboys. Ben DiNucci's on a rookie contract. No, but he only started for one game, not a couple. Not a couple.
Yeah, intended air yards. Oh man, Billy, you fucked us again. Okay. Yo, the hint. Luke Veer was the team. One of these teams had one player on the rookie contract start for a couple of games.
And the rest of the teams had
None.
just
Okay.
no one on a rookie
I
contract.
still
Well, I
feel
wanna
like I still feel better about the Falcons than anyone else, but I'm open to whoever you
Or
want.
you wanna
I
go-
felt good about the last two, and those
Who-
were wrong.
It's about who had a shitty defense, needed to throw, and didn't run the ball. So
Like,
Atlanta fits the bill.
Yeah, and then the Steelers also threw it a ton, but I think that they threw it like short all the time.
Well, yeah, their A dot was horrendous.
So I think the Falcons, because I can't remember.
LA, no,
not them. I feel best about the Falcons, but I mean we're gonna be wrong on a lot of these guys, anyways. So.
Okay, so let's say, do you want to lock in the Falcons? Because
sure, I'd rather
Matt
just
Ryan
end
did
this
throw the
misery.
ball a ton for a ton of yards.
Yeah.
Atlanta is number 2.
All right, we got one. We're on the board,
We're in the ballgame.
baby. Okay,
We're in the ballgame.
All right, we got one.
Come on,
We got
Dustin, you
one.
non-believer. He said Philly 9-0. Where are the Bigs? We're in the ballgame. Okay, who's the team that had a rookie start a couple of games? Because or a rookie contract start a couple of games. That should be the easiest to figure out. Like, it could
Philly,
technically be Dallas,
Denver,
it could be Philly, Denver. Oh no, Locke started more than a couple.
Oh right, okay. So
Philly.
I don't think that's the one.
I don't either. It could be like it could be the one. Like Wentz like chucked it completely out of play like so often.
Okay. So
we had an entire video about it.
We do.
I think it sneakily could be Philly. Who else?
Tampa. Rookie.
Yeah, but they can be on the list, but they're not that one, right? Same with Seattle, they're not that one.
Who else started a rookie for a couple of games?
Rookie contract, right? So it could be Dallas. But I think Philly's actually a better guess than Dallas. And I don't know anyone else. Like Burrow played more than a couple.
When you say a couple, are we going by the definition? So 2?
More than one. There is more than one.
So a few.
Right. I think like logically though, it can't be like Burrow or Locke. Like
they played more than one game.
Okay.
So it could be
Dallas
Burrow or Locke.
It's not going to be Burrow or Locke because he wouldn't have mixed it up because they were the actual starting quarterback. I think it's like maybe Dolphins. I think like probably Eagles or Cowboys or someone like that.
The football team wouldn't have done it.
No. They were too busy jumping off to Logan Thomas. And McKissick. McKissick was negative.
Mr. bulked up McKissick.
All right, let's just guess because we're running behind the 8 ball here.
Yeah,
who do you want?
We got a mock draft.
I feel best about Philly, but I don't really have a huge preference. If you like anyone else, just go with them.
I want to go obvious and say Tampa.
All right, say Tampa then.
Tampa
Bay is number 1.
Let's go! We got 2 in the game!
Only one more. Okay, and neither of those teams started a rookie for a couple of games. So anyone who didn't start someone on a rookie contract for a couple of games, we can toss them out. So it's got to be – I feel like it's Philly.
Who else had a rookie start a couple of games?
Look, like rookie contract. It doesn't have to be a rookie, right?
Right. Who let's think of the quarterback carousels that happen in the NFL, right? So who missed time?
Like I think it's got to be Philly or it's got to be Dallas. I really don't think there's anyone else.
Did Bridgewater play every game or did Bridgewater miss a game?
Because Bridgewater just loves checking air yards.
But he supported running backs, receivers. Like he overthrew and underthrew DJ Moore deep a lot. A lot.
I will be stunned if it's the Panthers. They do fit the bill though because PJ Walker started a game.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, he started one game. He started one game, not 2.
There's one team that isn't the answer, but I can't believe y'all haven't mentioned them.
No.
Well, who cares? They're not the answer.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I'll talk about it after this.
Okay.
If you say Philly, I'm going to trust you. You're my guy.
All right, I'm going to say Philly, and I'm just going to live with it.
Because even Hurts threw it deep. Hurts threw it deep.
That's what I'm saying. They chuck it deep.
Okay, we're going to lock in Philadelphia.
They tried.
Always sunny in Philly.
Come on, Philly. Come on, Wentz. You've never.
I lost.
Yes! Baby! Yes! Carson Wentz, baby! I believe in you. I believe in you. You and your incomplete passes.
Hey, Husker!
8-1.
Right!
8-1.
I should have prepared a better hint.
Yes.
That's what it's. Check the one at the bottom.
Should have prepared a better hint.
That's what I'm talking about, Jacob.
This must be out like Justin Tuck and
Cheers. Cheers. Let's go. Yeah, that's one up.
All right, let's mock draft this bitch.
That's what's up. You never count the boys out of the game.
Don't call it a comeback.
Oh, we're too hyped for this, but God, it felt so good. Oh, I can't wait to clip that. Before we move on, it's just I'm gonna bask in it.
Long live the king.
The king is dead. Suck it, Joffrey. All right, look.
Yes.
Look, we got a question here from Sean before we go on. Sean, I hope I say this right. Goglin.
Yeah.
He states, "What's up, dudes? So I got this Fantasy and Frames charity tournament, 12-team PPR Superflex IDP in a 23-round slow draft currently. Not sure how I like my team so far. I have Saquon, so Jacob's already in.
It. Yeah, I'm in.
Saquon, Herbert,
I'm in.
Najee, Burrow, Javonte,
Okay.
Devin White, Chase Claypool, Kenny Golladay, Devonta Smith, Joey Bosa, Minka, Damian Harris. Kind of screwed the pooch on the solid tight ends. Well, they don't matter if you get a top 3 anyway, unless it's
you missed out on the big ones.
Thoughts on what I should target? You starts.
DL.
We're not.
Go to Tom. He's
the
only one who knows anything about IDP here.
So look, look.
All right, sure. Well,
I resent that fact.
We're not.
I
don't.
Super.
But
here's how I feel when IDP comes.
You should. Yeah, exactly. You should definitely be asking Hollywood IDP for sure. But I mean, honestly, if there's no running backs, I would say get a prime receiver. You don't really have those. So it's all league dependent. I'm going to shut this down. So it's all league dependent. If your IDP, say linebackers actually end up scoring the same as running backs, right? So the way your tackles are set up, or you get points for assisted tackles. Oh, and it's premium. Look,
I love
draft
that
Gerald
draft.
Everett in like the 20. Yeah, you're in a good spot. You got superstars in Bosa, Fitzpatrick, Devin White, studs on the IDP. That's fine. I would be trying to stack your running back, wide receiver, maybe grab another quarterback if you can. Like, it's all dependent. If linebackers are the bread and butter, maybe you're trying to find that guy. Maybe try to find a guy like Budda Baker who scores a ton of points because of deflections and tackles and assists and sacks and picks. It's all team dependent. I defer all my IDP to Hollywood IDP or the IDP guys. But that's what I would do personally if there aren't any offensive players you actually really love on the board. Focus on that, because a lot of the waiver wire pickups, there's going to be linebackers that start for a game, like an LJ Fort, that's just going to, for no reason, have 11 tackles. I feel like IDP is more the waiver situation than the offensive players will be. They're always harder to come by in IDP leagues, in my opinion. So hopefully we answered your question. When we come back, the boys and I are going to mock the shit out of this episode. So sit tight. We're going to come back. We're going to mock this. I'm going to explain how we're doing it, because I personally think it's a little bit different. Sit tight.
Also, real quick, going to jump in. Can't believe y'all didn't say Cardinals. I thought that was going to be the obvious guess.
No, they're the horizontal raid.
They threw 8-yard out routes to DeAndre Hopkins.
I understand that you're from Texas Tech, so you think Cliff Kingsbury is an offensive genius, but
And you said my last name perfectly. Let's go. That's 2 weeks in a row I had a somewhat difficult last name, and guess what? I nailed both of them. Your boy's learning how to read and enunciate correctly.
I will not take that slander on my opinions of fantasy football.
Okay, look. So the way this draft is going to work is pretty simple. What I have with me is not a mock draft. It's a dynasty startup that I did a couple of weeks ago. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to be playing the role of the other people in this draft while also sticking to my strategy that I had in that draft. And these guys are going to have to maneuver their way around it. The reason I picked this draft is it was so perfect in that it had a QB hoarder, a heavy RB, a zero RB, a tight end hoarder, etc. So this is how it's going to be. It's a 12-team PPR tight end premium 0.5, including vets and rookies. Okay, this is how we're doing it. We're all picking from spots. I live at the 111. on a regular basis. Out of 36 Dynasty leagues, I've drafted in the 11 spot 29 times. I'm not kidding. I counted. It's disgusting. I'm meant for the spot. Jacob is picking the 108 and Billy at the 104. We are not going to sit here and hammer home and converse about each pick for 10 minutes. We're going to keep it short, 30 seconds. I'm going to be popping these guys questions in between while managing the board. If you have got all that and you're all set and revved and ready, boys, I hope you've got your sheets and your info. At the end of this, we're just going to briefly talk it out. So I'm going to hit the start button. Hopefully this is all going to work smoothly and I'm not going to screw it up. So, gentlemen.
Very quick question.
Yes.
How many flex spots?
There's one. Okay.
One
so
flex and a
if
super
you
flex.
go to your little thing called the roster tab,
All right. Oh, I see. Okay. So
Jacob is
three
learning
wide
how to use
receiver.
Sleeper Live.
we have quarterback,
Three wide
2
receiver,
running
one flex.
backs,
All right,
3
all right.
wide, a tight end, a flex, a super flex, and we're going to draft 1 bench.
I brought that up because I think people think that it doesn't matter. If you can start 3 wide receivers and 3 flexes, that means you can start 6 wide receivers, right? So like forms of 0 RB, the 0 RB extended family becomes way more
No,
viable.
you're right.
Once you reduce it down to 3 wide receivers, 1 flex, now, it's a
I wanted it
certain
as
running back.
simple for the people as possible.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's
for sure.
easy for us to remember that Superflex isn't actually the like standard play style.
Right.
For people right now, it's just our standard play style. This is our kind of preferred starting roster and but like 15 bench, right? That's our preferred dynasty. We're not going to sit here and draft all of that. I know some shows do. We're not them. We try to be a little bit different as much as we can be. Anyway, so if you guys are ready, we're going to kick this off. We're going to go. This dude is on the clock. We're going to set the player. Give me 1 second. It's obviously going to be Patrick Mahomes.
Whoa.
I know. We're going off the grid already. We're going ham right now.
Mediocre quarterback, Kyler Murray.
Yep, absolutely mediocre quarterback, Kyler Murray.
Oh,
So this is
I'm proud of
how
you.
this
A
draft
really good
started.
quarterback, Josh
Hey,
Allen.
look, I told you I'm reading off of a draft board right now that I have down here in front of me. I was gonna try to hide this. First 7 picks better be a quarterback. Hey, it depends on these guys.
That's because Dustin knows that I'm at 8, so he knows that once he gets to 8, the quarterback run ends.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well,
So Billy,
He
Billy,
knows
you're
that
up.
I spit on your super flex worship.
You see, yeah, the super flex. What do you always refer it to? The super flex, whatever.
Quarterback derangement syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Billy, you're on the clock here. You see 3 quarterbacks come off the board quick. Who are you snapping up real quick?
all right.
And I will judge you for this.
Usually, this is how I tend to expect these drafts to go. So when I'm saying at this point, I like to pick at right around the 4 or 5 because I think there's 4 QBs and then a 5th. And then I expect running backs to start coming off.
Yeah.
I think it's tiers, break, next set. And right around here is where I'm kind of deciding if I want to take an RB or a wide receiver. And in this case, this
But
is
Billy,
kind
there's
of
a
where
player that's on the board that has 2 jobs.
Billy. You got to go quarterback here, man. There's a quarterback.
He plays running back and quarterback.
The number 2 super flex asset is on the board.
Y'all let me talk.
No.
So, anyway.
You get 30 seconds, goddammit!
The way I play fantasy is Dynasty is I like to play the next 2 to 3 years, and there's a quarterback on the board who I really like, who I think is extremely talented and can be productive. And typically in Dynasty, he may have a very long career, but this player who has a lot of question marks in terms of the longevity of their career and the way they play their game, and because of that, I'm going to take Lamar Jackson at the number 4.
Okay,
Are you an auctioneer?
No, because y'all were rushing me.
He's trying to do my exit. Okay, so real quick, I'm going to move this along. Jacob, when you see a draft start like this, what does it start to do?
Man, I get so happy. Look, I think that the first 4 picks should be quarterbacks. Oh wow, that was absolutely heartbreaking.
So the way this draft actually went,
Oh,
Taylor went where Jackson went, and then it went Prescott, and then it went Jackson, and then it went Barkley. So I had to switch that up.
Yeah, so I went at the 1-8 pretty deliberately. Saquon Barkley is available at the 1-8 in like 90% of drafts. because usually you're going to see those 5 quarterbacks go. You're going to see Taylor go. You're going to see McCaffrey go. And then a lot of times you're going to see Herbert even go. So at 1-8, like I usually have my choice between Taylor or Barkley, and I at least have one of them. Those are my 2 top running backs, so it's pretty disappointing to not see that. However, it's also kind of cool because I don't own a lot of Christian McCaffrey in Dynasty because I prefer Taylor and Barkley, but I obviously really, really like Christian McCaffrey. I am not as enthused on Herbert as other people are. I think he's fantastic, so don't get me wrong. I think he's fantastic. I just think if I take a quarterback round 1, I'm trying to win the same way that everyone else is taking quarterbacks round 1, but I'm taking the one who can't run. So I just don't want to I don't want to like be taking 80% of everyone else's production in round 1. I would rather win a different way. So I will take Christian McCaffrey. Dustin says I'm going to take Diggs. Look, I would love to have Diggs in this draft. Not in the first round, but I absolutely love Stephon Diggs. He is my wide receiver 1 in 2021. I'm taking him all the time in that form.
So it was Herbert that went where you went, and then McCaffrey went.
Okay.
I don't know if people want the updates. You're going to get them whether you want them or not, so deal with it. Hold on, I just got to check my other board here. Okay. So now it puts me on the clock, right? 111. I tend to fade quarterbacks, and guess what? I'm looking at these ones, and I don't want any of these guys right now. So then I'm starting to look at the running backs, and I don't really want any of these guys right now. And now look, I'm not a big we're all trade down guys. So I'm just going to get this out of the way. We would all be trading down if we could. It's trade down for life. Okay. But when I'm looking at this, I kind of did this before in another draft, and I did it in this one. It's not best ball, I know. But look, I got to go with the guy. Okay. I'll take the first receiver off the board. I'm drafting Diggs. This is not how I started. Okay. I started with Dalvin Cook at 111 in this draft, but I had to switch that around with the way it went. So it's not going to be exactly the other draft board. Okay. But anyway, so we got T and 12 here. He's going to look at the board, and he's definitely went. Oh, shoot. I spoiled it. I have to do this first.
Russell
I've
Wilson.
I've never done one of these before. Damn it. We're making it work.
Russ is so interesting because I think like people either view him in the elite tier or they view him totally in a different tier. Like I've seen Russ go in the first round decently often, and then I've also taken Russ in the third round. Like it's so wide the spread on him.
So just to recap the first round in this, because look, if you're listening to this on the podcast, we appreciate you. This may not be the most, the best for your listening fancies, right? But you can check the episodes out on YouTube afterwards and at fulltiltdynasty.com. That's at the Dynasty Vipers Network and the Full Tilt Dynasty podcast page, which I'm sorry that I've neglected the YouTube a little bit, but I've been kind of focused on the website. We're going to get to it. But look, you got Mahomes, Murray, Allen Jackson, Prescott, Taylor, Barkley, McCaffrey, Herbert, Dalvin, Diggs, and Wilson, and Team 12 did stack Wilson and Metcalf, which I think is great. He's not the first receiver off the board, but he is the second, and that's not bad.
You're going to win a couple weeks.
Right, and for me, I'm going with my typical start of Diggs and Tyreek Hill, because if you're going to go with receivers, you better grab two of the ones that are going to just rack up points for you, and those two, they are completely locked in. So we are rolling right now, and it's back to
my God.
Jacob.
So, Ryan Tannehill in round 2?
Tannehill did go round 2 in this draft.
Holy moly. Yeah, so that's ridiculous. Anyway, this draft couldn't have fallen much better. I got Christian McCaffrey, who's one of the clear top 3 dynasty running backs.
Yep.
I always scroll over to quarterback, but heck no. Like there's other guys that I would rather have.
Doing our best here,
probably
homie.
Be available in the 3, 4, 5. I want elite players, and like I'll come off my structure to get them. But to me, like if I'm taking quarterback right now, like the distance isn't that far. All you do by taking quarterbacks to me in round 2 from this tier, like we just saw Tannehill go. Now I'm looking at like Burrow, Hurts, Rodgers. Like by taking quarterbacks in that tier, to me, you're just giving a massive advantage to the first 4 drafters who got.
I think I know who you're going here.
right? Like the first 4 picks get the elite quarterbacks, and they made the right pick. But if you then just take a bunch of non-elite quarterbacks right after them, and you then let them get elite running backs and wide receivers, you're so screwing yourself. So to me, because I already got the running back in round 1, I want another elite player. You can see it already on the screen. It's my image. I'm taking my wide receiver 1 overall in Dynasty, and I'm taking A.J. Brown.
Good.
Yeah, he went later in this draft for I don't even know why. I should have taken him honestly, but 1 second. Okay. So obviously moving on next, you see, we've got a running back. So this was a pretty, oh shoot, I keep blowing it. I don't know what buzzing I'm hearing right now. I apologize for that.
See, you go in at what you did at the 111 and the 2-2, taking Diggs and Hill. Like that really shifts things, because to me there are 5 wide receivers that are a cut above the rest right now, being Brown, Metcalf, Jefferson, Diggs, and Hill. I don't even have like a particularly set order between those 5. But so to me, it's like it's decently common. I can sometimes get Diggs in the 3rd, sometimes even Metcalf.
Right.
But like those are kind of the 2 that fall most often. But when I see them going off as early as you took them, like, that's when I'm like, all right, well, whatever. Then I'm just going to take a wide receiver 2, because I'm not going to get a chance to get one of those guys around 3 the way this board is looking at least.
Exactly. Right. And that's how it is. So in between my pick to Jacob's, we had Derrick Henry go. So team 7 is stacked with Barkley and Henry, which is right around night. At this point, so many players have been picked by us that I do have to shift this board around, but I'm taking players. So basically what's happening is if these guys take a player drafted in a spot with these other guys, I'm just taking the next player at that position that got drafted, and I'm moving it down the board. Look, we could have done it with the ADP with the computer running off. We think that really kills the vibe. So we're going to keep this moving along real quick. We had, after A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry, Trevor Lawrence, Travis Kelce, or Kelsey, however you want to say it. Billy, who are you going with?
All right. This is one of my favorite picks in terms of running backs. I've absolutely loved this player for a long time, and I'm excited to get to take him here. He's an extremely safe floor player, and I think I'm going to be able to get some good options coming back. I usually like to take safer floor while we're picking here, and then get some higher upside in rounds 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm taking Nick Chubb.
Okay.
I'm in horror. This will be one of the few picks that Billy makes that I think I'll like vehemently disagree with, but I cannot imagine taking a 25-year-old running back who doesn't catch passes ahead of Justin Jefferson at this point. So
look, that's an interesting pick. Jefferson actually didn't go to the 3rd round in this draft, so we'll find out. Those picks. So look, one thing I just want to mention really quick: Cam Akers went right here. So just to be with the board, I'm still gonna put Cam Akers here because he's got to go somewhere, and the injury sucks. But I am going off a board from a couple of months ago. Look, this is the pick, young running back. It sucks that he got hurt, but if we did this startup, before 2 days ago, this was gonna be the pick here. So that's why that pick is there.
While you run through the rest of the picks, Billy, I'll get your take on it first. When do you think you would take Cam Akers into startup today?
It's so hard. Like, I think he's a completely upside player at this point. If I could, I'm almost to the point where I would flip a draft pick in the 6th or something to try and grab him just to throw him on my IR and hope for the best. Because that's kind of like, if I could throw a 2022 second or something and get a good earlier round pick, I would be completely happy with that at this point. Because Akers is, I view Akers as just a pure upside play.
Yeah, I agree with that. While you quickly decide on, how about this? You do your pick, and then I'll talk about my thoughts on Akers as Billy gets it up to mine.
Okay, Billy, you're back up.
So close to Jefferson, Billy. Oh my gosh.
In between, after Nick Chubb, we went Akers, Swift, Waller, and Gibson, Fields, Jefferson, and back to Billy.
All right. So I've been playing a lot in the earlier rounds of draft, and I keep noticing that I get some decent players coming back around the 4. So usually this round here is where I'd start taking my higher upside players. So I'm going to start with the rightful winner of the Ridley versus Michael Thomas debate. I'm going to take Calvin Ridley here.
I knew that something like that was coming.
Oh man, sad day.
Remembering that this is premium for tight ends.
They did the double up.
Yeah, he had 2 tight ends. It was Waller, so I had to go.
Right as Kelsey is leaving the door, Pitts will come in.
Right. Obviously, none of us like Ezekiel Elliott in the 3rd round. That's not our style.
So close.
Right now, we've got a couple. We got Henry, Barkley, and Adams on one team, which is a pretty sick kind of start for play now. It's not our styles. This is what I like about this, because with this board and not having the computer randomly generate, just go off ADP, we're seeing a couple of different styles and a couple of different things in play here that you would kind of see in a real draft. If you just go by ADP when you're doing a mock draft, you're not getting what a true draft would be like. So for us, having these situations pop up, it's kind of all on the table, and I'm not going by random. I do have another draft sitting right here. All right, Jacob, who do you got? You start with McCaffrey. You've got A.J. Brown. Where are you turning right here?
Yeah, well, luckily Billy doesn't have a pick between my next ones, so I'll be open about the strategy. Maybe I'm going to get screwed, but there's 3 quarterbacks right now on the board that I have ranked basically the exact same.
Okay.
And so all of them would be the highest player on my board, but I kind of feel like I'm going to get one of them back to me at the 4 or 5. And there's one other guy that stands out. It's tight end premium, and George Kittle to me at 3-8 is just a big cut above the rest. Yeah. So I'm going to take Kittle here, and I'm going to hope that one of the 3 quarterbacks that I want falls.
Exactly. That's huge too, right? Because you're getting in a situation where tight ends are coming at premium, no pun intended, and you're seeing some, do you pass on it now, or are you giving it up? This is a dynasty. We only do dynasty except for Jacob, who's become a best ball nerd in the last month or so. Crap, I gotta look at this team. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to make this as smooth and quick as possible. Very sorry. But this is a Dynasty Superflex 12-team PPR 0.5 tight end premium, going off a board as best as I can of a draft that was done a couple of weeks ago. So when you're looking at a team that's obviously going heavy running back, like right in front of me, that means to me at this pick, I have to take a running back. I see a guy that's going to have 2 picks before I get to come back. I don't know what's going to happen. I started with the rare, and it is rare these days, 2 wide receiver draft, which I've done quite a bit recently, honestly. So when I'm looking at this board, I'm looking and go, oh, here's one of my favorite players just sitting here waiting for me to draft them. And no, I am not afraid of Gus Edwards or Lamar Jackson. If you watch the Ravens enough, you see that Dobbins is just so clearly a cut above everybody else. We're going to stop Joe Burrow's slide here with that pick right there, and we are going to come right back. So sorry. Let me just check. I got to double check who the player is. Okay.
Yeah, well, you double check. I got to say, I've never drafted Joe Burrow in a dynasty startup this offseason, and this was the first time I came extremely close, because I think
he seems like he's
pretty
right
overrated.
there.
I think in general he's overdrafted. I've seen him go around the 1-2 turn a lot, and that's kind of crazy to me. But I would have been all over it where he just went. For sure, that's a great pick.
So when I'm looking at a draft board that has no real tight end options, I'm looking at wide receivers. I've already got 2, but you start 3 now. Again, this was a couple of months ago. A couple of weeks ago. So I'm looking at this. This is before all the anti-vax goodness. He was sitting there for me in the 4th round. It was a little bit different, right? It went a little bit different order, but you guys kind of messed with my picks here. So I'm taking Hopkins. So I started with Diggs, Hill, Dobbins, Hopkins. I'm obviously going for that PPR spam and the points. So
you have literally my wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, and wide receiver 3 in redraft right now. So you're going to put up a lot of points in those wide receiver slots. That's for sure. Yeah,
and that's all you're trying to do when you get a team like that. I mean, that's honestly, that's all you're aiming for, and that's all you kind of should be aiming for, honestly. Oh, I gotta check. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to talk and do this at the same time. I'm trying to make
All
this
right.
as informational as possible. Billy, why don't you, when you see a board like this, when you're looking at staring down your pick coming up in a little bit, what are you targeting in this situation? Running backs obviously went flying off of the board. We're getting there for quarterbacks. What are you seeing when you look at a board like this?
This is a really interesting board because this is something I usually don't see. Is it feels like a lot of like positions are getting drafted at the same levels.
Yeah,
Like, it seems like the same amount of players are getting drafted. So I'm kind of just playing best player available right now. So I'm going to pass it over to Jacob since we're on his pick.
Yeah, and this could not have gone better. I was hoping that either Burrow or my other guy was going to come back to me.
Jalen Hurts. Oh, he
I
froze.
was praying for the stack, and I got it. I'm taking Trey Lance. He's my quarterback 8 overall in Dynasty. I would have taken him over Burrow straight up. And I'm so excited to press the button.
So you know what's kind of wild about this? Trey Lance went in round 7.
That's absolutely insane.
I know.
Was this pre-NFL draft?
No, this is just a couple weeks ago, mate.
Oh, my God. That's insane.
So here's the thing I feel about Trey Lance is people aren't projecting him to be like the guy. So it's really making people iffy about taking him this early in drafts, which is insane to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's Dynasty, right? Like, to me, I honestly, I actually think he's going to start week 1, or at the very least, I think that there's a much better chance he starts earlier than people think. But, like, the 49ers are a Super Bowl contender this year. They're not like the Bears, where they're looking at the long term. They're looking to win the Super Bowl this term. And they decided that the best way to do that was not drafting, an impact defensive player. They decided we're gonna trade up, we're gonna mortgage our future for a quarterback because we don't think Jimmy Garoppolo can win us a Super Bowl. If they thought he could, they wouldn't have drafted Trey Lance. I think that they're gonna want to get Trey Lance in the game as soon as possible.
So we're up on
Billy, you're
my
on the
pick
clock
right now.
You went Jackson, Chubb, and Ridley. What are you looking at? You just saw Stafford, Aaron Jones, Michael Thomas, Trey Lance, Mixon, Eckler, Hopkins, and McLaurin go off of the board. Who are you looking at this spot?
Yeah, I really wanted just about all those players who just went off the board, so that's a little bit unfortunate. Here, like the small part of my brain that is solely robust RB really wants me to go pick a certain player right now. Oh, I don't have everyone else has picks. Wanting Miles Sanders right now, but I'm going to suppress that a little bit.
Push it down.
I'm going to push that down in my brain just a tad and take one of my top 5.
I know early third Lance. I know Husker for sure.
One of my high-end wide receivers for the next couple of years, and this is probably going to be the biggest reach of the draft for me. I'm going to take CD Lamb to start off.
I don't think that's a reach at all.
I don't mind that at all.
Usually goes earlier. I've seen him go round 2.
I think CD Lamb is absolutely phenomenal. I've talked about this all the time. He's going to be locked in with Dak Prescott. The team wants to be an offensive juggernaut. The team doesn't want to build a defense. It's very clear. So CD Lamb is hands down like this highly valuable player who's just sitting here. And regardless of what happens with Amari Cooper, he could be the wide receiver 2 there and put up 1,200 yards each year. Like, I think CD Lamb is an absolute must draft in that case.
He's going to be very good as the wide receiver 2 in Dallas this year.
I'm sad to see Miles Sanders jump off the board at that point.
Oh my God, Tom Brady went in the round 4. Jesus Christ.
Tom Brady is going to have a year this year.
He sure is. He's going to have a year.
Yeah. Dude, he's playing until 45. I don't know what you're talking about. He's got 2 more years.
I absolutely cannot support that choice for team
that
one.
narrative.
And he took So team 1 just took Tom Brady and Josh Jacobs, which is the most triggering possible turn for me. This is the point of the draft where I would immediately go to team 1, right? I would see that they drafted Josh Jacobs. And then I would see that they drafted Tom Brady. So I know that's a team that's looking to win right away. Yeah. And they're living like there's no tomorrow. So
you're trying to get their first round pick.
Immediately I say, hey, team 1, 2023 first. I'll give you my round 8 pick. Like I want that team's 2020.
And they're probably taking
immediately. And they're going to be all
Look,
over it.
I'm also doing this without, obviously we're not doing trades, right? So I'm trying to make this as good as possible off this. Obviously, Billy's going to go A-Rob to go with his Ridley Lamb.
That's my boy. So just to jump in, the reason why I love A-Rob is no matter where he's going to end up, whether he's in Chicago next year or he's moving on somewhere else, it seems like he's going to move on somewhere else. They're making him play under the franchise tag. He's going to be an alpha for the next 2 to 3 years. And just because of that, I absolutely love the stack of Ridley, Lamb, Robinson. Ridley, we know, is a producer. Robinson is absolute floor with a little bit of upside if he can get some touchdowns in a single game. And CeeDee Lamb is just this young talent who's going to absolutely detonate, I think. So I think this wide receiver stack is gorgeous. The only downside to what I'm doing right now is I don't have a second QB and I don't have a second running back right now. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it on over to Jacob to draft his.
So
whatever.
from
I didn't have a joke ready.
Aller Robertson, I'm creating players in Be a Pro mode. We got Jamar Chase go next, Deontay Johnson, and Aaron Rodgers to stack with Devontae Adams for Team 7, who has Barkley, Henry, Adams, Thomas, and Rodgers. Jacob, when you see a player before you take a startup like this, are you salivating or are you realizing that maybe, especially when you have Herbert, Tannehill, Edwards-Helaire, and Mixon after you, are you concerned about how it's lining up for you, or are you just rolling with it?
No, I'm really happy with how this draft went. Like, to me, I think I got McCaffrey and Brown pretty much right on value. I think Kittle should be about a 2-3 turn pick in tight end premium, in my opinion, and I think Lance should be around 3 pick. I was thrilled with the Lance value. Once Billy passed on him, I was praying Jamar Chase would come to me. I have Jamar Chase as my dynasty wide receiver 6. So I would have been absolutely thrilled. However, my second favorite rookie in this year's class is still here. There has been almost 20 running backs taken, but my RB12 from actually RB11 now because of Akers' injury. Oh my God. My RB11 remains available. I draft him on pretty much all my teams. And so I'm going to just go ahead and smash Travis Etienne. I truly think him and his fellow rookie Javonte Williams are just a massive cut above the rest of the running backs available. And to me, this is something I was talking about with Tom early. I often draft running backs early, and that's like somewhat by accident. In reality, is that I don't want to draft running backs in the later rounds. Like, once the running backs that are gone, with the exception of Javonte, are gone, I just don't want to take a running back for a really long time. So it makes that easier to do if I already have a few. So now I have McCaffrey, I have Etienne. Those are my 2 running backs for forever. I would backfill that at some point, but now I don't have to. I can just literally right-click the wide receiver tab for a very long time and try to sprinkle in a quarterback.
It is early for Deontay, but remember, the truthers for Deontay love that guy and see him as a wide receiver 1. I just realized I made a mistake. Kind of, Team 10 did draft running back for the first 5 rounds, but that's because there are actually 3 flex spots in this league, but we only have 1. So I'm still drafting him for how he built his team. These weren't the 5 running backs, but obviously things got shifted around, trades and whatnot. He did trade up and everything. He has no picks. I think his start was hilarious. I'm sorry if you're listening. I know you're listening or will be listening. I'm sorry. Your draft sucked. I did tell you we were doing this, and I told you your draft sucked. I'm sorry, but your draft sucked. Yeah, we'll talk about it in the DMs if you want to. Look, so I'm looking at this board. I have Diggs, Hill, Dobbins, and Hopkins. For me, I swore I was going to let go of fading quarterbacks, but my RB1 is still on the board. I actually I got him in round 6, but seeing as how we are going by with some adjusted players, I can't let Javonte Williams escape the 5'11". I did get him at the 6'2", but I took the same position because other running backs were gone. So obviously for me, with my draft being Diggs, Hill, Dobbins, Hopkins, and Williams, I have a combo. Okay, I've got some veteran wide receivers who are studs, and I've got 2 young running backs who I think are awesome. It is a very Tom build, I will admit. For sure, we're going to have... Just give me 1 second. I have to have a look here. So sorry. I'm trying not to do this. Jacob.
Yeah, I'll talk.
When you're looking at a team that has all running backs, are you mocking them in the chat, or are you trying to play it cool?
Yeah, so it honestly depends on what my team is, right? Like, you're always trying to do a little bit of market manipulation. So, for instance, if a team
I'll admit I screwed up. Keenan Allen went before this. I'm so sorry, but we're going to get him off the board.
It's fine, man.
It's fine. If that team was drafting all the running backs, and I didn't have enough running backs, then I would be making fun of him relentlessly, right? It's like, what is this idiot doing with all the running backs? They got hurt, they're old, or whatever, right? But in this case, I already have enough running backs, so I would lay back. I'd be like, oh man, you guys better draft some RBs to keep up with Team 10, because at this point, I have no interest in taking a running back again now that Javonte is gone for probably 7 rounds. So
exactly,
now I want everyone to take running backs. So it really depends on what I want out of it.
And that's the thing. Monty is a steal.
Oh my god!
Draft.
You gotta be freaking kidding me.
We're not David Montgomery people. I understand that people think that he's going to be the next big thing. We disagree. I think he's going to be fine. I don't think he'll touch that RB top 10 ever again. But I think a 15 finish is totally in his range of outcomes.
He's in a reasonable spot. I'm not going to get mad about it.
Yeah, exactly. Steal, debatable. I think the running back steal to me personally is Etienne and then Williams.
I agree.
That's just me personally.
I agree with that.
I think so we're more than halfway. We're in the 6th round. I'm going to make my pick. And then after that, I just want to get an opinion from you two guys on who do you think has the best and worst drafts thus far, excluding Team 10, because we all know he actually had the worst. And I'm looking at my pick. I don't have a quarterback yet, and I'm looking at the guys, and I'm really sad at who went. This is before we let it go, which you can go and check out. I'm sorry, I've totally missed this. Yeah, I know. Make pick, then talk. I get it. My guys are reminding me what's up. So look, I'm looking at this. I'm going QB. I have to go QB, and I don't even like this. I did draft him in the Scott Fish Bowl. He was my QB2 at the time, but he's my QB1 on this team. I'm going with Baker Mayfield. He's my QB1. So it's Diggs, Hill, Dobbins, Hopkins, Williams, Mayfield. I think OBJ coming back is going to be big for him. Guys, who do you think has the best draft? Billy?
Real quick, just want to jump in on this. I had a heated debate with the person who I think is Team 10, but in this case, I think Baker Mayfield is a great pick. I really like Team 7's draft, provided all the chips fall in the right direction. If Saquon is good, if Rodgers and Devontae are back, that's a phenomenal stack. Losing Michael Thomas for a couple weeks could be offset. If everything falls in the right direction, Team 7 is an impressive team.
Correct. I agree. I think the injury now, it's all Captain hindsight at this point, but I think that I definitely think that Team 7 could have a dope team if everyone comes back and is healthy and is actually playing for their current teams. Jacob, who do you think has the best? Who do you think had the best draft?
That was triggering. Brendan, you just put the pick before me, and I have the beautiful lamp stack. Anyway, I would say I'm looking at first of all, I think that I have the best draft, but
without picking yourself.
Other than that, of course, I probably like Team 2 the most. I think any one of those 3 quarterbacks is great. Kyler's fine. Love the value you got on Swift. Love the value you got on. I love the Fields pick. And I love DJ Moore. So I really, really love 3 of his 5 picks. That's probably my favorite.
Okay.
This one, man, this pick is really gross. I don't want to do it. But I look at my team.
Amari Cooper.
No. I look at my team. I'm like, look, Lance is super young. Etienne super young. AJ Brown super young.
Carson Wentz.
I have a team that's building for the future.
Oh no!
I'm going to get nothing out of this guy in 2021, but he's going to be a first-round pick in next year if he's cleared of charges. So I got to do it. It's going to be Deshaun.
You
Watson.
can't not take Deshaun Watson. Hey, you just can't.
No, because if it's round 6, first of all, here's what I would do in this scenario. I would trade a first-round pick to get an extra 6. And then I would take Watson. And so then essentially I would make Watson my first round pick next year. That's the actual scenario of what I would do if this were a draft with trades. But to me, but before this happened, everyone was taking Watson 1-2, 1-3, 1-4, or 1-5. And if he's playing football in 2022, that's where people are going to take him again. I just can't not take him when he's right there available for me.
No, I agree. I think that's the right pick. I just think it's funny. Billy, you groaned just now. Is it because Carson Wentz or Chris Carson went off the board?
I kind of want Chris Carson.
Oh my God! Jesus Christ, Billy.
He's gross, but just an added extra
so
piece.
bad.
You're gonna make Jacob quit.
That's fine. All right. Without him talking the entire time, I'm going to take Chris Godwin here.
Okay.
Similar situation, Allen Robinson. He's playing on the franchise tag. He's going to come back. And if he's in Tampa Bay, he's going to be useful. If not, he's going to be an alpha on a team somewhere. So why not take a paid Chris Godwin, who's going to be the focal point of an offense? I think it's an absolute plus to take. And now when I see Tua come off the board, that was kind of upsetting because without Chris Godwin, he was going to be my pick because I believe in Tua, and it seems like a lot of people have stopped believing in Tua. So now coming around the board, I'm kind of watching what's coming off. I see Mike Evans jump off, which I'm completely fine with. I like Mike Evans if I don't have the team build that I have, if I'm looking to grab another RB to kind of sit behind. So now just what's coming up now, I have one tight end, one running back, one QB. I've gone almost exclusively wide receiver since round 2. So now I'm just going to continuously talk to Stahl while Thomas makes these picks.
I just want to mention I'm now at a point where I can no longer go off of this draft. There's so many trades in the next 2 rounds. There's 14 trades in the next 2.5 rounds. Ish. I did. So at this point, I'm kind of just going to go by what I think these teams would do.
Yeah, let's do it.
We're trusting me at this point. So I'm going to just make this as entertaining,
just
but
roll with it,
as realistic as possible. So when you see a team that drafted Brady in the 4th to take Wilson in the 7th, does it kind of cool you off of that pick, Jacob, or are you still mocking him relentlessly?
I don't know. I guess so. It makes some sense to me, but I don't know. It's just the Brady in the 4th pick is kind of bad no matter what you do it. So I don't think you can put lipstick on a pig. I understand that helps. It's just to me I understand that then you backfill so that your quarterback will be fine, right? So that's a plus. However, if you're going in with Brady, then you're going in on winning in 2021, and there's some extremely good wide receivers here. And essentially now you spent that 7.1 on a player who won't ever touch your lineup this year.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just not so sure about it.
Sure.
All right.
Billy, quickly.
My team is entirely built among wide receivers, so I'm going to take a pick here of a young running back who has the potential to earn his entire future here. I'm taking Myles Gaskin.
Oh, my fucking Christ.
It's okay. Continue to draft while I talk. So Myles Gaskin has the legitimate chance to continuously take the next step and earn that role in Miami. It's completely open field. No one is behind him. I think Myles Gaskin could be a highly valuable player come next year. I think there's a potential that he pushes higher on into these drafts. I understand that right now it seems like a gross pick. If I didn't have the 7 wide receivers on my team, I would have taken a wide receiver over him. But in this case, I like Myles Gaskin this year. I like him potentially for the future, provided he produces. So right now, this is a purely upside pick that could just pay dividends moving forward. Jacob, you're on the clock.
Absolutely. And yeah, easy pick for me here. I'm already building young. I'm already sacrificing an entire year for my round 6 pick. So I will take another young wide receiver, one that I think has some superstar potential. I'm going to rock with Chase Claypool here.
Claypool is a great pick in the 7th round.
Yeah, I'm thrilled. I would have taken Claypool over, I wouldn't take him over Higgins, but everyone else has gone in the last while pretty much at wide receiver. I'd be thrilled to have Claypool. The way I look at it with these picks, right, is even though we can only start 4 wide receivers, I'm always in just a value mindset. So I'm just looking at especially when I take Watson, I'm pretty committed now. I have 2 quarterback picks and neither of them are probably starting a game in week 1. So I'm pretty committed to sucking this first year. And so now my mindset is, all right, Christian McCaffrey's on the trade block, and then I'm just going to pick guys that I think will be worth a lot more next year than they are now.
Right. And so when I'm looking at the board, I just see Team 10 finally took his quarterbacks. I've got look, we never draft for a starting lineup. That's a big no-no at the fantasy walkabout. So I'm punting tight end at this point. I like some receivers. There's one running back And I'm not going to bother reaching to get him here after talking so much trash about him. Jacob knows what I'm talking about. But I will show you what happens with that when you don't take a risk on somebody and how that can bite you in the arsehole, because it did to me in this draft. Now I'm looking at this board and I'm thinking, who's going to come back to me after the 8-2 and it comes to second quarterbacks? And I'm just going to say DGAF. I don't care. I don't give a shit. I'm just going to keep rolling with a player that I love, and it is Visca Chenault. I'm taking him at 7-11. He's my fourth wide receiver. I think he's going to carry the ball. I think he's going to receive the ball very well, very well. And then this is where things take a turn for the worst for me in this draft, trying to outsmart myself.
Man, I'm
sorry,
so depressed.
give me 1 second.
I like Chenault just as much as Claypool, and I would have been, but like normally I'd be like, all right, well, Chenault will be there next time, and I was so sad. That sucks.
We've got a couple rounds to get through, so we are going to power through this. Now I have to take a quarterback here, and it wouldn't be a draft involving myself if I didn't take Sam Darnold as my QB2. I obviously have been a Sam Darnold believer, a truther. I still do, still will. He is my bae. He will forever be my bae. Jacob, real quick, who are you taking at this spot?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm just looking for guys who can accrue value going into next year. And highest rated player on my board would probably be Kenny Golladay here, but I think that he's going to be 29 next year. Potentially, I'm just a little bit more concerned. I'm stacking young. I'm just going to lock in Jerry Jeudy.
Good.
That's a good pick right there. I think Jeudy fell a little bit too far because I'm trying to do a lot of things very quickly. Normally, Kareem Hunt goes earlier off the board than we saw right here. But again, I'm trying to do a lot. So, all Billy, you're on the clock here.
I only have one QB. I need to ride. I'll eventually pick one up, either through a trade or some method. But for this year, I'm taking Fitz.
Fitz is a favorite target late. Obviously, we know what he can do. But, I mean, will he be good? We don't know. But I think that this could be his year to finally play out a full season, do what he does, and hopefully, live up to expectations, because everyone does love a good DGAF type player. And God, that's what he is. And we love him for that. Obviously, guys, when you're looking at a draft board and it's coming together the way that it is right now, do you have a player in the 9th, 10th round that you're just like, oh, please, Lord, let him fall to me? Or are you just like, whatever, I don't care?
Yes, and I'm about to take him. So I'm not saying anything yet.
That's funny. You're like, yep, absolutely. I'm not going to say a word.
I'm just curious, Billy. Like, is there a world in which you would trade Kenny Golladay for Ryan Fitzpatrick?
Probably. I'm sure there's a world. I'm not a huge Kenny Golladay person. I did get my guy, which was A.J. Dillon, who I think is a great flex position. I think he's going to have touchdown upside every year this year. So absolutely A.J. Dillon, I think, is a great option. But yeah, there is a world where I'll take Kenny Golladay over Ryan Fitzpatrick. I don't know what that world is right now, but I mean, he's a productive wide receiver. He's on a good enough contract that if Daniel Jones is absolutely horrible this year, he's going to get an upgrade at QB next year. So
I agree.
That's the situation.
I'm in complete disbelief that Kenny Golladay is here in round 9. I think everyone is being an absolute dummy, so I'm just going to take him.
I think it's the Daniel Jones. I think it's the Daniel Jones thing. Like, if I'm being totally honest,
I think it's the wet part that was free agency for wide receivers.
I just think people are drafting running backs and quarterbacks that they shouldn't. That's all. I think that, like, I could say the same thing about Golladay as I could about whatever wide receiver I take next. I just think that pretty much after round 5, everyone should simply right-click the wide receiver tab and draft highest available. And I think that every non-wide receiver pick that happens after round 5 for the next 6 rounds is absolutely terrible.
Right. So when I'm looking at my build, I got Diggs, Hill, Dobbins,
Jacob.
Hopkins, Williams, Mayfield, Chenault, Darnold.
That's how I feel.
Look, I don't like drafting this player, but I also understand that he's going to
Henderson's
get
already gone. Husker.
Yes, he is. That
Yeah.
was a little late. I'm trying to do a few
That was
things
an
at once.
interesting
So
one.
when I'm looking at I'm trying to kind of play it as it would be now. So I'm looking at a player who's going to get targeted in an offense. He may drop the ball. I don't like this pick, but I can't not have Evan Ingram in the 9th
God,
round.
Ingram.
Like, I think in the 9th round, I think that it's totally acceptable to take a player like that. Can roast me if you want to. But I believe in that pick kind of full-heartedly. And the 9th round, like it's the 9th round at this point. After that, like, do I want a terrible human being like Tyler Higbee is? No, like I don't really. And like, I believe in Everett, but not anytime here. So that's going to be a hard no for me. It's tough to make these picks just off the top of my head, obviously.
Right, of course.
At this point, I'm just trying to move as quickly as I can because we do got a hard stop. But we're gonna be going right here.
That's tough.
So if I'm looking at my team to round it off, I have Diggs, Hill, Dobbins, Hopkins, Williams, Mayfield, Shenault, Darnold, Ingram. I'm looking for the best impact player I can, and I gotta tell you, it is a little rough. It's a little rough out here on these streets. Looking at the way it is now. But look, I want, like Jacob said, a wide receiver that's going to have upside. Now, whether or not you think that he actually is, I'm kind of buying into the hype. I'm going to take Mike Williams at the 10-2. I think that with all this talk about him being the X, he's the X, he's the X, he's the X, I'm actually going to be okay with taking him at that. Oh, I almost set Jacob's pick. We don't want that. Who's your last pick here? You're rolling McCaffrey, Brown, Kittle, Lance, Etienne, Watson, Claypool, Judy, Galladay. Your team is pretty stout.
I'm heartbroken, of course, that Rashad Bateman went. I would have loved to take him.
I know he's only 27, bro. I know.
But same idea here. I mean, look, last thing I want to do is take a quarterback. I want to be scoring 0 in the quarterback slot for as long as humanly possible. I want the number 1 overall pick. So I'm just going to key stack wide receiver. And highest young wide receiver on my board is Rondale Moore, so I will go ahead and click his name.
That's a good pick right there.
My boy.
That's actually funny because the next one, these guys are doing it.
I was
these guys
going
are
to take Rondale or Elijah, one of the two.
These guys are doing a great job at keeping these picks great. Hoping you're enjoying this little ditty that we have going on here today. A little different for us doing a mock draft. It's not something we've done before, but it is something that we're going to do again. We are going to have another one. It is going to be a little bit later in the season. But hey, looking forward to it. Gonna see how strategies change, and you are going to be able to get the results of this here draft once we get out of here. So, Billy, your last pick of this draft, who do you got?
I got Curtis Samuel. I'm going to stack him with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Nice. He's an extremely athletic player. He's going to be a gadget in that offense in Washington, an offense that's only going to get better. Zach Moss would have been my pick otherwise, but I think Curtis Samuel stacking. I'm going no tight end, which I'm not a fan of, but I mean, in this situation, I think I did pretty well.
Okay, so that's going to do it for the draft. Obviously, we have to have a hard stop here, but Billy, I just want to get Jackson, Chubb, Ridley, Lamb, Robinson, Godwin, Gaskin, Fitzpatrick, Dillon, and Samuel. It gets messy after the 6th round, but it kind of does that in every draft. With Jacob, you got McCaffrey, Brown, Kittle, Lance, Etienne, Watson, Claypool, Judy, Galladay, Moore. I like that build. And for myself, it's a little tough, but I went Diggs, Hill, Dobbins, Hopkins, Javonte, Baker, Shenault, Darnold, Ingram, Mike Williams. It is a very Tom draft. Look, we do have to get a hard stop out here. Hope you've enjoyed the mock draft. And guess what? If you liked everything we talked about today, you can definitely get a hold of us. If you didn't like anything we talked about today, well, you can definitely get a hold of us about that. Did you have any opinions about our draft and how we went about it? Well, guess what? You can definitely get a hold of us about that. You can definitely do all of that at fulltaildynasty.com. You can do all that at fulltaildynasty.com by sending in the form. You can send us a direct message. You can send us an email. You definitely should be subscribing. You can definitely check out the video and leave a comment. The links will take you to the appropriate YouTube channels. Definitely stay tuned for the August 7th special edition of the Podfather and the Full Tilt Dynasty podcast as we dive deep into some analytic stuff, and we're going to try to surprise them with a special Billy Stack Corner and try to stump the Podfather himself. I look forward to that. I look forward to seeing you, all of you, at the Fantasy Walkabout next week, and I look forward to seeing you here next Friday at the Full Tilt Dynasty podcast. I want to thank everyone for coming in, tuning in, hanging out with us, and doing what we do. We couldn't do without you. So everyone, I just want to say for myself and my two mates, that's Billy, Jacob, and again, myself, the host with the most time in his hands, please keep sending us support. We love all of you. Stay kind to one another. And as always, clear eyes, full hearts, can never lose. Good night, everybody.
Jacob Sanderson, Billy Milestone, and your host, Thomas Tipple. Dynasty Podcast. This is the Full Tilt. 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 Dynasty Podcast. Jacob Sanderson, Billy Milestone, and your host, Thomas Tipple. This is the Full Tilt Dynasty Podcast.
You're mocking me, aren't you?
Oh, no. Buzz looking alien! Where?